And on to the ninth round. This one I'm really going to have to speed through, just quickly analyze the games, just not gonna look at any of the details. So yeah, let's just get on with it. Finland faced Scotland. Finland almost got no game, almost got a free round, but just barely avoided that fate and got to play the last round, so that's nice. Yeah, so we faced Scotland and Mikael Akopo once again on the first board versus Alan Tate, 2300 player. I played him once. He had this annoying habit of always getting from the board, even when just playing on the increment. That annoyed me quite a bit, and I lost that game. That annoyed me even more. But yeah, E4. This was this was a really long game. So Berlin, but Mikael didn't want to go to some kind of end game. Just play this strategic line. Obviously, white cannot take because queen d4. This is a double attack. Let's see, 4 knight d7. Also defending e5. Once again, same tactic. White cannot take the pawn. Double attack. So bishop e3 instead, and now it just became a long ass game. Just a lot of maneuvering. a4, just typical, stopping everything. White wants to keep the double pawns as they are. He doesn't want to change them, just leave them as they are. Let black worry about it. g3 looks kind of weird because, you know, some light square weaknesses, but there's some ideas. White has hope that he can play f4. Maybe the black knight is coming here, so g3 is stopping those. Also, if ever white moves the knight away to play f4, with g3, black cannot play queen h4, so kind of multi-purpose move. Rook a6, kind of interesting, getting to the rook active. And yeah, this game is just honestly, it's like a nightmare to analyze. It's such a long one and so many little details and so many difficult things to understand. Two knights versus bishop and a knight. This knight on h3 is actually quite annoying here, stopping white from doing all kinds of damage. There always the one problem white has, that if he ever plays f4, he has to worry about this diagonal. So yeah, white just plays this long waiting game. And knight g5 seemed like a mistake. Now white finally gets some play. Seemed like even f4 was possible here. The best moment to get like with tempo. And now white just slowly builds up. f4. Now it's just getting worse and worse. Rook f8, you can see when you're going back. The knight was nicely on h3 and now it's all the way back on g7. Things have gone bad. And bishop a8, yeah, white just black's just waiting for white to do the checkmate. And Alan resigned here. Knight on f6 is too strong. I mean, black king is almost checkmating. h5 is coming. Maybe e6. For example, if black waits, the white can even play knight g6. Take on f5. If black takes, is just checkmate in one. And knight f6 is really nice because it also knight f4. So they all both these knights stop the queen from coming to d5 if that was ever possible, going for some kind of counterplay. So yeah, this is a long maneuvering game, and Mikael handled it better. Really complex game. Not much to say with the small analysis I did. I just didn't have time to look at all the details. So here, Samsonusti faces Adam Bremner, 2200 player. So Samson is also a favorite, just like Mikael against Alan. And yeah, another interesting game. 97, not the best. F5, nice response. Black takes, also not the best. Black king in the center. Bishop is stuck on f8. And white responds quite nicely, knight d5. He sacrifices a pawn. The point is that the extra pawn f5 does nothing. Knight is on e7, going nowhere because it's defending the pawn. Bishop is stuck on b7, doing nothing. And g6, now especially the knight on e7 is doing absolutely nothing. And there are many dark square weaknesses. And also c5 is weak. So many things have gone wrong for black. f6. Now if ever black plays bishop g7, it's hitting granite. Taking makes things even worse. Now the b file can be opened. Knight f4, king f7, and b4. Nice move. Queen b4. There's rook b1. And if you play d6, white can, for example, take rook b1, take the bishop, play d6. Let's say queen d7, take on a8. White is up a piece after this long forcing line. So here, like, Samson is in big trouble and plays rook e8, just hoping for a miracle, really. Queen d8. This is so lost, so completely lost. All the pieces on the back rank. King, for whatever reason, on f7. Knight c8. Rook a6. Not a good move. Not a good move at all. White is just way too greedy here in a completely superior position. The bishop on a8 was doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Here white could just go back to defend the bishop. But here he really wanted to win a pawn, but what's the point? For example, black would take on g3 now. So black gets some counterplay, and there was no need to give any counterplay at all. And queen c7, and now without the bishop, c5 is also weak. So this is a complete disaster. White is still doing well, but white has to play much more accurately than he needed to. Was necessary. Bishop d5, another mistake. There was a little tactical shot, tactical thing going on here. That shouldn't have been too difficult to find. Knight d5 with the idea to go to e7, and because the rook is not defended on h8, the knight is pinned. So yeah, how do you defend the knight? There is no good way. And also when the knight a rook takes on h8, he will also be attacking the bishop. Another thing for black to worry about. Bishop d5 happened because I mean it makes sense, you know, like he wanted to save a move, but sometimes there's better than a check. c5, and now black gets his counterplay. Rook c3, very natural, but actually a small inaccuracy. White had a really beautiful move here, really difficult move to find, and that was bishop e6. So the knight is coming in. Black has to take, and then d7. So white is trying to promote. Rook c5. And now just bishop e6. How do you stop the promotion? There's only one way. Knight b6. And amazingly, black is not lost here. Black is not completely lost here. Rook e8, knight e5. And the fight continues. So yeah, knight e6 was an interesting move, but very, very difficult to find, I have to admit. So instead c6 was played, and this was a really big blunder. The knight is hoping to come to e6 now. So black first takes. And just grabs a pawn. And if d7, black can just take the bishop, no problem. So what to do? The pawn is hanging on d6. White takes on c6, but black takes. d7, and that's rook d8. What to do here? There's really nothing. Nothing really white can do except promote. And you know, these pawns, 4 pawns on one side against 1 pawn, this is decisive. Rook g4, forcing a trade. And yeah, suddenly it's a win. It's a remarkable game. So Samsa increased his cheer norm to 8 games. Very nice, but I mean, he was completely lost. Just completely lost. But against 2200 was enough. I mean, it really was decisive, the counterplay here. This rook s6, this is where it all started to fall. Where everything got too complex. He just gave some counterplay. And it was not easy. A bishop d5, you know, a tempting move, but sometimes there's better Anyway, let's move on. Third board, Erik Rönga versus Andrew Muir, 2200. Classical Sicilian. Bishop e7, not very common anymore. Honestly, I don't know anything about this line. I never see it. But Erik seemed to know something about it. I'm not gonna show, but knight e4 doesn't work after all the blah 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 captures. After all the blah do 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 do, a million captures, in the end, white is comfortable. So black instead takes on d4, queen f5, bishop c4. You know, black is just a little passive here. e5. So he wants some activity, makes a lot of sense. Bishop e6, maybe not the best move, but also not so bad. Now black has a double pawns, but what he did achieve is he opened some lines and he got rid of his inactive bishop. Like you go back here, very bad bishop on c8, and suddenly it's traded. Queen h3, very natural, attacking the pawn, but actually maybe a mistake. Queen b6, natural, but also a mistake. The right move, queen s6. So just one square to the left, the same idea, just defend. But if now the game move, bishop g3, attacking a pawn, it seems like b5 and the b4, and black has suddenly tremendous attack, and black is actually much better here. So after queen s6, white already has to play defensive moves. So this is why white had to play queen c4 to make this b5 harder. Putting pressure on e6 also from the other side, but you know, obviously Erik didn't play queen c4 because he didn't want to allow some rook c8 tempo at some point. But yeah, all this happened, and now it's difficult to defend e5 and e6 at the same time. Bishop e4 is tried, but it just takes. Black gets his pawn back, but the bishop is very annoying, and e6 just continues to be weak. And yeah, white is just more comfortable. He is not able to find any quick win, but slowly he improves his position. Maybe black had some chances also. I think here maybe was it a5, a4 was maybe an idea for black. That was missed. And a4, quite nice, just blocking the a5 pawn. And if black takes, then that just means that an annoying b4 pawn was traded away. And black wants to keep it there. For example, maybe white can even try to play c4 here in some cases to trade the queens. So rook e8 was played, and slowly white starts improving his position. Here a5 is tagged and the rook on c6 also needs to be defended, so black is having a lot of trouble here. Rook c3, knight c3, a mistake. This is basically what white has waited for. Now finally the white king is safe because the c file is blocked, and now black has basically 3 weak pawns. So black is in serious trouble now, putting more pressure on a5. Also e6 can be taken. Black is hoping for some counterplay, but it fails to a little tactical operation. And checkmate. I think pretty good game from Eric. Yeah, not a perfect game, but overall Eric just had a more comfortable position the whole game pretty much. And to the last game, Tero Kokila versus Frederick Gordon, 1700 player, but 11 years old. Or 10, most likely 11. So probably some kind of talent. This is a French, it's kind of weird French, but quite comfortable. Very comfortable for black because black gets to develop just very easily. Like usually white has a pawn on c3, and then it's just, there's never a so easy way. There's no easy way for black to develop all his pieces. But here, with the e5 being weak, and black can take on c5 with any of his pieces, black gets to develop just with a free hand pretty much. And sometimes even like g5, g4 is an idea. Black plays quite calmly. f5 makes sense. If white doesn't take, then really now if black manages to play like h6, g5, there's really gonna be a big attack. So white takes. But now, yeah, e5 might come. The bishop is a monster on f6. So white tries to trade that bishop, but then he loses some time. And 9 on a2. It's not great. But yeah, somewhere from here, Tero plays, I don't know, a bit slow. It's just not accurate enough. He just plays like decent moves and slowly gives away his edge. Here, for example, knight e6, knight f. Too many circles. Knight e6, knight f4. Going for some kind of more active approach was the way to continue. Knight e4 like looks natural, but somehow it just doesn't really do that much. And slowly, white manages to regroup. All his bad knights are suddenly well positioned in the center, and e5 is actually turning more into weakness than strength. And black starts just starts defending, just has trouble doing much. g4, how to defend e5 now? There's no way, so black tries to play e4. At least the rooks are now inactive on the e file. And yeah, Frederick plays pretty well. When he when Tero stopped speeding, Frederick just got more and more comfortable, and his play also just improved. And here Terro took. If it doesn't, then white could play knight d7, king h7, e6. If rook e7, the rook falls. So black is forced to take the knight anyway. So it's kind of like a similar move as in the game, maybe slightly better. But no matter what, black was losing an exchange. And Terro plays rook e4. Maybe not the best. Because it's quite difficult to actually, I mean, it looks very drawish, but the king advances, and then things are suddenly not so easy. So maybe black should have kept the rooks on with some move like knight e4. At least this kind of variation comes into mind. Let's say knight f6, attacking g4. And now if suddenly some way the rooks get traded, maybe it's fine, because black would get the g4 pawn, and then it should be a draw. But in the game, it's not so easy anymore. The king is just advancing. King f4, king f5. How do we stop it? Terro tries g5, but black will get in. I mean, white will get in anyway. If black takes, king e4, king f5. And it is coming. Nothing can be done. Rook f4. Just defending the pawn, and white will pick up the rest of the pawns. Yeah, this is it. I have to say, I'm just tired. Tired of looking at all these games. From now on, I will just look at one game. I told this before, like so many times. I'll just look at one game from every round. But never happened. Just didn't feel good. I always had to look at all the games. So the tournament, Finland did well, improved their ranking quite a bit. But it's normal, like the last round decides everything. If you win the game, you do well. If you lose, you do badly. The last round decides. Samsa improved like 30 kilos. That's very big. Very rare. 30 kilos. That's very nice. Akopov, a few kilos. Also did quite well. Rönkä also. I think like 20 kilos, but his K is 20. Kökkä lost a few, and the black sheep, Tero, lost over 30 kilos. So yeah, not so great, but yeah, sometimes your tournaments go like that. I lost myself, I think 30 kilos. Yeah, sometimes you just cannot stop it. When you start losing, you just cannot stop it. Overall, pretty good tournament from Finland. And Hopefully next time we will get, the usual team. New back, Toivo, and so on. And maybe we can battle the really big guys if everything goes well. So yeah, that's it. Maybe I should also mention that Ukraine won, and Firoza became second in the world. He just beat everyone pretty much. He was just a beast, complete beast. I would like to make a video out of his games, but I'm not sure. No, the World Championship has started. Carlsen just drew. So I don't know. Maybe I will look at those games instead. I'm not sure. But at least I'm gonna take a break, like for a few weeks. No, not a few weeks. A few days, maybe 1 week. But yeah, for now, bye bye.